Today is going to be a really fun video because I'm going to be doing a bunch of fast, easy, high protein dinners. And today's video is also sponsored by Thrive Market. So I'm going to have a grocery haul later on and I'm going to show you all the things that I bought and then how I'm using some of those things throughout my week. I've been trying to focus on protein a lot lately because with the price of groceries, I feel like we have to make every little bit count and make our meals count. So I'm just focusing a lot on meat and even vegetables and grains that have a lot of protein, beans, all those things that kind of keep us filled more. So we're not wasting any money in our grocery budget. Today and over the next few days, I'm gonna show you guys cozy, protein-rich meals that are really gonna keep you full and that the whole family is gonna love. These are super kid-friendly, family-friendly, picky eater-friendly. I feel like most of these recipes anyone will like, and they're kind of inspired by what we like to eat out at restaurants. I love to make whatever we like to eat out at home because then I can make it healthier because the quality out there is just not that good. But one of them you could even swap and make it just completely plant-based without any meat at all. Throughout this video, I'm gonna show you different tweaks and how you can kind of change up each of these meals to suit your family or your taste, or add more vegetables to it instead of a carb, and just kind of show you how to change it up because I feel like that is really useful because we all eat so differently and diets are so unique. So to have little tweaks that you can make so that way it's kind of customized to your family and what your kids like, what your husband likes, whatever, then I think that's really helpful to do. So I'm going to show you guys kind of how you can switch it up. We're going to have some pasta, we're going to have some rice, we're going to have some pasta, we're going to have some rice, and just things that are overall really family friendly. So to get started, I'm going to show you some of the main ingredients that you're going to need for meal number one. I love any sort of fried rice or Asian style dish. So tonight I'm going to make a homemade honey garlic chicken. So it's kind of like a chicken with a sticky sauce that's just sweet and delicious. And then I'm going to pair that with a little bit of rice that I'm going to do fried rice style, put some peas and carrots in there. We're going to need coconut aminos, honey, some cornstarch, and then I have a little cube of chicken broth that I froze last week. I'll use a little bit of sesame oil, rice vinegar, and we'll make a delicious sauce for the chicken and then a really fresh fried rice. Okay, this is heavier than it looks. Before I start on dinner tonight, I want to tell you guys what I ordered this week from Thrive Market, and thanks so much to Thrive Market for partnering with me on this video. This week I ordered a bunch of stuff that I'm going to use to cook some of our recipes for dinner this week. They have a lot of great options, and if you haven't heard of Thrive Market or you've heard of it but you're not quite sure what it is, Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store, and you can either do a monthly membership or the yearly membership, and trust me, it pays for itself because you're going to save so much. One of the reasons I love it is because they have the highest industry standards with over 1,000 ingredients that they have banned from their site. So it's not like your typical grocery store where you go in and there's a bunch of foods with just weird ingredients. All of that is banned from Thrive Market, so you can really rely on them for just organic and affordable groceries. But it's really so much more than a grocery store because they have stuff for health and wellness and baby cleaning products. So there's tons of different things. You can kind of just get lost in the website. There's so much good stuff on there and have it delivered for free over $49. It is so easy to find healthy swaps on Thrive Market and say goodbye to the junk food. And they also run sales frequently, so even getting those prices that are already lower is so helpful. Like this week they're having a fall sale where you can get fall favorites for like 25% off, so it's incredible. So let me show you a few of the things that I picked up this week. Sourdough pasta, which I can't find this anywhere, even at health food stores near me. These are just some veggie straws, and what I love about them is that they're made with coconut oil. These are a win. They're super inexpensive and they're a great snack for the kids. They love those. Coconut aminos, this is a staple in my home and pantry. I use it this week too. Some organic chickpea pasta. I love this because it's high in protein. Rice. This fall cleaning product bundle was on sale, and this is a concentrate that I can put in this glass bottle and reuse it. So I love anything that's reusable. It's so much healthier for the planet. Salsa verde because it's fall and you have to make a white chicken chili. Of course, fire roasted diced tomatoes. I always have a bunch of these in my pantry. So if you're ready to start saving on all of your healthy staples and making healthier choices, they did give me a link for you guys, so you can go to the description box or just head to thrivemarket.com/healthy Elizabeth, and they're gonna give you guys 30% off your first order and a free gift up to $60 when you join Thrive Market. So I hope you guys check them out. I'll have everything linked down below in the description box. And thanks so much to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. To start on dinner, I'm grabbing a big cast iron skillet and I'm going to heat it up over medium-high heat. And then I have 2 pounds of chicken tenderloins, and I'm just going to rinse those and then dry them off with a paper towel. And we're going to put that in a bowl and sprinkle that with about 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. And I love using this one from Thrive Market because it is organic, and I think that that's really important. Anytime you're using corn, if you can find organic, that's going to be a better alternative. So I'm just gonna toss those in all of that cornstarch, and that's gonna help it thicken our sauce and gives it like a really great crust too. Just season it with some salt and pepper, and then we're gonna get it into that hot skillet with a little bit of avocado oil, just 2 or 3 tablespoons. And I'm gonna do it in 2 different batches since I'm using 2 pounds of chicken. So I'll do 1 pound of it, about half of it first, and then I'll get that nice and seared and cooked through on both sides, and then I'll repeat that. While that's cooking, I'm gonna get started on the sauce, and we're using a bunch of garlic. I have about 4 garlic cloves that I'm gonna crush, and then we're gonna put this in the pan and let it get a little bit toasted, and it's gonna bring out that real garlic flavor, but you could also use garlic powder. I like to make sure that I'm getting a nice brown crust on my chicken. That way it's easier to flip. So you can kind of tell when it starts to pull away from the pan, that's a good time to flip it. That means you have a nice crust. And I also like using my stainless steel tongs because that helps you kind of scrape under the chicken just a little bit to kind of lift that crust up. Then I'm just gonna put these on another plate, set them aside, and get the second batch going. And I'm gonna add in my sauce later. So I'm gonna start on my sauce now. I'm just gonna mix it up in a little mixing bowl. I'm using a little bit of raw honey. You just want to use about 1/3 of a cup. You could do less if you want. And I'm putting that in there with that 1/3 or so cup of chicken stock or chicken broth. You can even use bone broth because that's going to add extra protein as well. I'm going to add in about 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. I added a little bit less because I actually ran out, but we want to add in about 1 tablespoon of that and 1 tablespoon or 2 of coconut aminos. You can do that to your taste. You can add a little bit more if you want, but I'm going to use that ratio because it makes a nice thickness and it tastes so delicious. That honey and the coconut aminos, it just has such a nice flavor, and it's so simple to make, just simple whole foods. So now I'm going to pull those chicken tenders out of that skillet, and we'll get the sauce going right in there. I'm just going to add in about a tablespoon of butter. You could also use more avocado oil, and that's just so I can cook that garlic really quickly and get it nice and fragrant. And then we'll pour in that sauce and add our chicken back in and let it all simmer. And while that happens just for a second, I'll go over to another skillet and I'll quickly make that fried rice. So once the sauce comes to a quick simmer and thickens, you can add back in that chicken and just toss everything to coat until it sticks to the chicken and it's ready to go. So you can just set that aside and focus on that brown rice. So now you have plenty of protein in the chicken, and then you're gonna have your rice, which you can cook in bone broth. And the key to making good fried rice is to use fried rice from like the day before, or just make sure it has plenty of time to chill in the fridge, because it kind of changes the texture of the rice and you're able to get it a little more fried and not so mushy. So put a little bit of avocado oil in your skillet just over medium heat, and then you can quickly just saute it a little bit. And I love adding a little bit of coconut aminos and sesame oil, which I normally add at the same time I add the avocado oil, but I just forgot. So I'm just adding it in now and stirring it together, and it came out just fine. Now, one of the reasons I love serving this chicken over this rice is because when you sprinkle in the peas, that actually has added plant protein. So I love doing rice, but then adding in as many of those peas as I can get away with my family. And that just helps to up the protein, up the fiber. So to stir that all together, I'm just using some frozen peas and carrots. It's super quick and easy. And you just put those in straight from frozen, stir it all together for just a couple minutes, and you're good to go. Now, this is optional to add even more protein, but once that's all done, I move the rice to the side a little bit, and I'll add in a little bit of avocado oil and crack in a few eggs and scramble those up. And once once they're scrambled, just stir those in. I love a really good eggy fried rice, and of course, adding 3 eggs into this amount of rice just gives it that much more protein. So simple, easy, and so delicious and comforting, but still full of protein, and you have your veggies too. Okay, today it's a literal hurricane outside and we all want something really cozy. So I'm gonna make some of my typical just chili that I like to make with ground beef, but I'm gonna serve it over some of our protein pasta and kind of make it like 3-way style. Not perfectly to a T, I definitely do my own version of that, but that's what we've got going for dinner tonight. So it's gonna be really cozy, plenty of protein from the beef, the pasta, there's lots going on here. And I typically use a green bell pepper, and I know that I ordered it in my groceries, but I cannot find it anywhere. So we're substituting red, and then we're also going to use sweet onion, of course, a little bit of garlic. We're going to be using a little bit of organic kidney beans. I've got some good ground beef here, cumin, chili powder, some crushed tomatoes. These are fire roasted. That's my favorite for making chili. I feel like it makes everything taste better. So I always have fire roasted coconut sugar to sweeten it up. I also need to grab my Worcestershire sauce and a little bit of tomato paste just to add a little bit more richness, and it just makes it really yummy. So we're gonna do all of that and cook it up, and then I'm gonna boil off some pasta. It's gonna be a really easy dinner, but super cozy, and I know everyone is gonna go crazy for it. I'm gonna go ahead and put together my little cleaning spray. That way I can clean up and kind of spray off the countertop after I get the beef cooking. Chili is just like the epitome of a cozy fall dinner for me, and I love making it 10 different ways, but this is kind of a standard way to make it for me. But I love serving it over this protein chickpea pasta. You could do chickpea pasta or quinoa pasta or lentil pasta, any of those kind of plant-based pastas that have extra protein. That's just a great way to sneak in a little more protein in your diet. And it's also nice because you can stretch that ground beef a little bit further. So I'm just starting out by getting a pot, and I have my ground beef browning in there. And while that's browning, I'm getting my veggies chopped up. So I have some bell pepper and sweet onions. You can use about 1 to 2 bell peppers of your choice. I'm just using red because I love the sweetness of it. And I'm just gonna dice that all up along with about 3 cloves of garlic that I'm gonna crush. And this is something that you can make just how I'm making, or you could swap it out and make more of a plant-based version. So instead of the ground beef, you could swap that out and just use more packages of beans. Just make sure you kind of drain that off so it's not too liquidy. Once my ground beef is pretty browned, I'm going to go ahead and add in my bell peppers and onions and get that nice and sauteed. And then I'll go ahead and add in my seasonings. I like to do lots of chili powder, so about 1/2 to 1 tablespoon of chili powder, just depending on your taste. And then I'll do a teaspoon of ground cumin, some salt, pepper, 1/2 tablespoon or so of paprika, and then I'll do 1 can of those fire roasted diced tomatoes. And then I'll sprinkle in some coconut sugar to balance it all out, just about 1 to 2 tablespoons of that. And then I'm adding in 1 package of organic red kidney beans. And you could swap those out for pinto beans or black beans, but kidney beans is just a classic. It's our favorite. I like to add a little bit of tomato paste for extra richness. I'm also going to add in 1 can of crushed tomatoes, but you could also use tomato sauce if that's what you have on hand. So anything kind of tomatoey, that's just going to be the base of this chili. And then I love to add in a couple bay leaves just to really make sure that that flavor is nice and rounded out. I'm gonna let that simmer on the stove. You can leave it uncovered or you can cover it. And I'm gonna go ahead and boil off that chickpea pasta. And when it's all done, I'm going to serve that chili right over that protein pasta. And then you can top it with a little bit of fresh cheese and diced onion. This meal is just so family friendly, and it's really easy to customize it to your taste because you can swap out the meat for beans. You could serve it over chickpea pasta. And I love that chickpea pasta is also gluten-free. Just make sure you check your labels. Make sure it's just chickpeas. You can add more pasta if you're really wanting a hearty dinner. You really just can't go wrong with this meal. Okay, the dishwasher's going right behind you, but tonight we're making a Southwest turkey skillet. I don't really cook with a lot of turkey, but lately I've been liking a little bit of turkey and ground chicken, and you can do this recipe with either one of those. So I've been liking taking things like turkey and ground chicken and ground beef and using 1 pound for my size family, and then extending that with some beans because that's gonna give us more protein, more fiber, but make it a lot more economical and just kind of stretch that meat a little bit further. So I like to use good quality meat, and that's one way you can do it, is just by stretching it further using other things like vegetables, beans. So tonight I'm going to make a Southwest turkey skillet, and it's so easy because you can just throw it all together in one pan really quick. But the trick to making sure that it comes together quick is just having a little bit of rice in your fridge already. You can use white rice or brown rice. Where'd it go? I'm actually using some white rice tonight. I'm treating the family because that is their favorite. I prefer brown rice just for the fiber, and I like the taste of it too. It's kind of nuttier, but they love a good white rice. So nothing wrong with that. Everything in moderation. And if it makes your family happy, go for it. There's a million other ways you can kind of spruce up the health benefits, and we're gonna put some veggies in there, and it's just a really delicious, comforting meal that you can make in like 10 to 15 minutes. It's really quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and start it and get my skillet preheating. So I'm using, my lighting is weird over here, but I'm using a little bit of ground turkey. I've got some frozen corn, and then I'm going to be using kind of like a mix of spices here to make my own homemade taco seasoning. I do it all the time. It's super easy. I'm just doing a little bit of paprika, cumin, garlic, and chili powder. And then 1 onion, I'll dice this up. I have a yellow bell pepper, but you can use any kind of bell pepper, it doesn't matter. And then a little bit of salsa, and it's gonna kind of work as our sauce. And I love this one because it has like a tangy lime flavor, and it's super mild, so my kids love this one. So we're gonna use that, and then I have a little bit of shredded cheese I shredded up yesterday. Organic black beans. You can use either black beans, kidney beans, or even pinto beans. Those would be delicious in this too. So for the Southwest skillet casserole, I'm starting with another big skillet over medium-high heat, a couple tablespoons of avocado oil, and then don't be like me and leave the paper that comes in your ground meat. Make sure you take that out and don't make my mistakes. Break that meat up into little bits and pieces, and then we're gonna season it with a little bit of our homemade taco seasoning, and we're gonna add in some yellow bell pepper, but you could swap that out for any color bell pepper or leave it out completely and just use more of the frozen corn. But I'm gonna add that in while I'm sauteing that meat so that the flavor can get into those veggies too. I love doing that, and it makes the whole process kind of just seamless because you start one thing, then you chop a veggie, you add that in, then I'll chop my onion and add that in, and just let that all cook down and get nice and tender. You can turn the heat up a little bit and get a little bit of a char on those veggies too. So good. So now I'm gonna add in salt and pepper, and then we're gonna make our homemade taco seasoning, which I'm really just gonna sprinkle right over the top. I like to use chili powder, cumin, paprika, garlic, onion, and that's it. It's really simple and just a delicious and clean chili powder. So mix that all together, make sure those spices kind of get toasted up and it'll start to cook down, and that's when I'll add in a little bit of salsa, just like a 1/4 cup, 1/3 of a cup, sprinkle in some frozen corn, and you could also use like a fire roasted frozen corn, that would be delicious too. And then I'm gonna take some leftover rice I had in the fridge, and you can just kind of eyeball how much you wanna do. I'll do somewhere between 1 to 2 cups for a pound of ground turkey, and I'll mix that all together. You want to make sure that rice doesn't look white anymore and that it looks completely covered in that taco seasoning, and then you can mix in those black beans that I drained and rinsed, but I decided to put them over the top just to add a little bit of color to it and make it look more appetizing. Then just top it with cheese, and you can cover it with a lid for a second to melt it, or put a baking sheet over the top if you don't have a lid. To serve it, I love just having a couple blue corn chips or tortilla chips on the side. It just adds a nice little crunch. And then top it with either sour cream or Greek yogurt, and you could do a dash of hot sauce or more salsa, a squeeze of lime juice. You could swap the ground turkey out for ground beef or ground chicken. And if your family doesn't mind you sneaking in a little bit of greens, you could add in several handfuls of spinach right at the end and just let it wilt down. So I hope you enjoyed seeing some of my family's go-to high protein, comforting, and cozy meals. And I'll have all the ingredients kind of listed out in the description box, so it's really easy to find. Don't forget to shop some of the things I use, some of my fall favorites that are going to be 25% off this week. And you can check out my description box for 30% off your first order at Thrive Market.